Hey, hello, it's Mari-Lyn Harris here of Hard at Work, and I'm recording a podcast about creating an impactful legacy. And of course, this show is for about productivity, profits, workplace wellness, and of course, my favorite, about kindness. So it's about really helping business owners and entrepreneurs find some insights or ahas about how they can incorporate, the ideas that are presented in their business. So today I have Andrew Hood with me today, and he's got some great information to share, and I'd love you to meet him. So why don't we just get started? Andrew, so tell us a little bit about how you got started doing what you're doing and all
Sure.
that stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, Mary-Lyn. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very excited to be here.
Love your
Um,
accent.
s- yeah, all the way from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
Look, I've been, there's a few different aspects which all sort of came together. I've been writing for a long time. So
Hmm.
used to write, I was a musician, used to write a lot of songs, but I really enjoyed the writing aspect
Hmm.
of that. And also been working in the IT industry for the last 25 years. And during that, we saw a lot of leaders come and go. So I just got fascinated with leadership and the different aspects of leadership. And so at one point, I started to write about leadership and what I was learning from the incredible leaders that I was seeing around me. So,
Hmm.
yeah, those two passions, I guess, came together at one point. And I took my writing and my fascination with leadership and wanting to be a great leader, which, hopefully I'm on the path to being right now. It can always get better, but
Yep. Yeah.
I lead a team right now of 9 people and a business, and I just love it. I love it every day, and I know a lot of leaders that don't. So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's important. That's
Right.
important.
Yeah. And so what do you find, because you're talking about leaders, is what do you find
Mm.
that why some people like it and some people don't?
I think I think you've got to. That's a good question. I think you've got to see why you're in it. Why are you actually doing it? I was very lucky very early in my career. One of the most experienced sales reps in the business, and I'm a salesman.
Hmm.
Took me under her wing and coached me and mentored me. So it was, how do I then give back? How do I help mentor the next generation of young people that come
Hmm.
along? And for
Hmm.
me, it's all about the people, right? I love my
Yeah.
team, and even before I leave at the end of each day, I think to myself, what is the one more thing I can do for one of my team or for my team before I leave today? Because I just don't want to miss. I don't want to miss a chance to help them or to help their careers. So I'm big on
Right.
the mentoring. I love the career, so I get a big sense of accomplishment from that. But I
Hmm.
don't think everybody is. I think some people see leadership as a career destination or a career path.
Yeah.
Um, and if that's the case, then you've got to set some objectives on at what point are you going to be happy? Because the thing about a career
Hmm.
is every step you take, there's the next one in front of you, right? So at some
Right.
point, you've got to know if you're going to take on a role like this, you've got to know what makes you happy in
Right. Right. Yeah. Because
it.
leadership is like we're all leaders. It's just
Absolutely.
what are we leading? and
Absolutely. Right.
and who is
There's a great
participating with us,
There's a
you
great
know?
saying I heard, and I wish I could credit it to the right person. I should look it up and find out who said it. They said, "What do you call a leader with nobody following?" And it's a guy or a girl just taking a walk. And I've always loved that.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
like that.
even at that moment, you're still leading yourself. So
Mm,
you might be
absolutely.
a leader of one, but
Yeah,
you may not have anybody following you yet. But um,
yeah,
I think it's when you figure out why you're leading and what are you leading, and if you're like you're saying, if you don't have a something that you enjoy, that's
mm,
a lack of followers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also leading from behind, right? There
right?
is that, you know, leading from the back of the pack, which I love, you know.
Yeah,
If there's ever anything amazing, I don't want to be the guy out the front waving the flag. I want my team out there getting
right,
all of that credit and excitement, right? If there's trouble or danger, then sure, I want to be at the front and I want to be able to take as much of that as I can. But, you know,
right,
leading doesn't mean that you have to be at the front the whole time. You know,
right.
you want to
Yeah,
share that around.
yeah. I like your point about the back end. It's like, it's like when you're, I don't know, when you're scouts or when you're in a youth
Mm,
thing, you always have people behind and in front, making
yeah,
sure everybody's coming or going, or they're, picking
absolutely.
up the placards and say, come on, let's go.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So cool. So, what are some you think some of the biggest obstacles are when it comes to just being a leader, just by not enjoying it, or what would you say about that?
Look, I think the one thing when I started to write about it is the one thing I noticed was the different situations call for different types of leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are some of us that are great in certain situations. And
Mm-hmm.
then you take that and you say, what a great leader, we're going to put them over here.
Right.
And the things are different over here, and they don't have the ability to redo their leadership. I don't know if that's the right word, but they don't have the
Right.
ability to adapt their leadership to the new circumstance,
Right.
which is which is why sort of what I found out, and the reason that I reached out to you is I looked. What I wanted to do is I wanted to look at who were the greatest leaders.
Right.
What did they do? And
Mm-hmm.
so I picked the top 10 greatest leaders of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to, and I just asked the question, who were they like before? And
Right.
what were they doing? And what situations were they in? And, so maybe there's a time over here when I need to be this type of leader, and maybe, excuse me, and then there's a time over there where I need to be a different type of leader. And I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
challenging piece is, what type of leader do you need to be in each situation?
Yeah. Maybe you're being the leader of one in your sales efforts, and yet
Yeah,
now you're becoming the sales manager. But those are two different roles, really, because one
absolutely.
has already been trained and the other one has not, right?
Mm, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your book.
Yeah, so this book is called Legacy Leadership because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be about the leaders that left a legacy over time. So,
Mm-hmm.
we've got the likes of Martin Luther King, Napoleon, Catherine the Great, Nelson Mandela, a lot of these great leaders
Mm-hmm.
that, over through history. And it was, like I said, it was what was the situation they were in? How did they deal with it? And it's really, it's sort of like 7 or 8 pages per liter. So it's not like, this book is 3 inches long. It's an ebook that's available online, but it really just goes through those people and, things like Nelson Mandela, who really, when you distill it down, it's never give up, never sell out, lead from the
Right.
back. You learn sort of things like that. And in his situation, you're in a situation like his where you really, behind it all, you've got to stand for something. And
Mm-hmm.
learning his story, you sort of go, okay, I need to be a little bit like Nelson Mandela here. I know I'm not, but maybe that's a situation, or Winston Churchill, and
Yeah.
I love one of the things with him is where there's a will, there was a way,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in so many situations, and I've just thought, I just do not know how I'm going to make this happen, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm determined to finding a solution, and usually one presents itself.
Right.
Whereas I see others and they go, "Oh, I don't have a solution," so I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going, "You're already lost," you're not even on the path. So, so
Yeah.
yeah, there's good things you can learn from all of these people.
Mhm. And who was your favorite?
Look, I think there's bits of all of them.
Mhm.
There's some great things I learned. Like Napoleon wanted to make sure his army was well kept, looked after, and he would talk to anybody that would help him. I like that. I like that Winston Churchill never sort of, a solution will present itself because it's worked very well for me.
Mhm.
They're all great. There's so many great. We've got the Dalai Lama, Dwight Eisenhower, Winston Churchill. There's there's some great ones in there. I don't know that I have a favorite. I think I've
Okay.
learned a little bit from all of them,
Hmm.
which has been really good.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So, so do you have any examples or stories that you've worked with your people that you're really
Mm.
proud of, or things that haven't worked out so well for you?
Yeah, look, I think I'm. It's an interesting world we're living in right now. I
Hmm.
think
Truly,
when we look at
truly.
it, yeah. So I'm adapting to that situation now. So how do we lead a team remotely? We're all sitting in our lounge rooms. We're all you know
Hmm.
um, feeling disjointed from the world and from each other.
Right.
Um, we're lucky, and then we still have jobs to do. So
Right.
I know a lot of people are struggling with that at the moment. So how do I keep this team of people from, from being disheartened or from losing passion for their roles?
Right.
And I'm enjoying the challenge of trying to figure that out. And we're doing twice weekly calls where we don't really have a set agenda. We just want to come together as a team and talk to each other.
Right.
We're doing a virtual. It's Friday afternoon here. We're going to do a virtual drinks this afternoon.
Happy hour.
Yeah, it's a virtual happy hour.
Yeah.
And that all sounds, it doesn't sound like a lot of work is going on in there, but it's keeping us together, and it's
Right.
keeping us from losing, our passion for everything. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm quite. I won't say I'm proud of what we're doing, but I'm enjoying this process right now of having to rediscover how I adapt my leadership to this new challenge.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think happy hours are good because it's still like team building, only you're having
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, great. So, tell us a little bit more about, I know you're a writer, so maybe you
Yeah,
can expand a little bit more about your writing,
yeah,
uh, or maybe other types of services that you provide. I don't know. So I'm going
yeah.
to leave it up to you.
Yeah, sure. So, look, I love my writing. It's a passion of mine. I do work full time, so and I'm a sales director full time. I love that as well.
Right?
I recently, so this book that I'm talking about, this legacy leadership book, was really my first attempt at writing a novel. I had written a novella before that. This isn't a novel; it's a business book as such, but it reads like a story because sort of what I've worked out is I used to love reading a lot of self-help, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a story. We're not operating men. It's like
Yeah.
reading an operating manual for me, and we're people, right? We can't just take a self-help book and say, this is my operating manual now. So it became about stories. And even after this book, I wanted to follow stories further. So I've just had my first novel published by Peregrino Press called The Man Who Corrupted Heaven.
Okay.
And that is a leadership book about the CEO of a company who dies, and he's a rich man, and he decides that he wants to take his riches with him. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to just, he's spent his whole life trying to build a fortune, and he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to just let death steal it from him. So he comes up with a way of taking his money with him. But it's really the whole story is about, that life flashing before your eyes as
Mm-hmm.
you die. So he is looking back on his life, and he's realizing with this new perspective all of the changes he might have made along the way, and where he's gotten things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So while he may seem very successful, and that's the traps of success, sometimes it doesn't give us
Right.
time to stop and look at our lives with a bit of perspective and say, are we doing it right? Are we
Yeah.
living the right way? So that's what this book is about, and I've really enjoyed that process of writing this book. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I want to take what I've learned in these leadership and in life and put it into these novels. I really enjoy that process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't know if there's a right way of doing things because every situation is different. And
That's
when you
right.
have people involved, they have their own issues or challenges or joys that show up. And so we're either agitated or we are, joyful for them. So it's
Absolutely.
it's kind of like you were saying, writing them and putting them on paper really helps you appreciate them a little bit more
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I once said to my wife, it's like I didn't even know what I thought about certain things until I wrote them down.
Right,
There's, a thought can sort of turn on itself and spiral, and the next thing you know, you're thinking about something completely different. Whereas, structuring a sentence for me and saying a few things in a paragraph or in a chapter, I really enjoy that. I feel like I'm crafting something. And
right.
the new book has been received very well, and people are saying, hey, it's changed the way I think about a whole bunch of things now. So I feel
Right.
really good about that.
No, cool, cool. So, tell me just a little bit more about how you are going to leave an impactful legacy.
I think I'm going to leave an impactful legacy through the people that I'm engaged with.
Mm,
It's going to be seeing the people that have reported to me or have looked to me for help, or to see
mm-hmm,
them and their careers do well will be a reward for me. That's how
mm-hmm,
I'm feeling. I've had a great career. I was a sales rep for an IT company, a field sales rep for 17 years.
mm-hmm,
Done very well with that. I could have kept going with that, but I decided that I wanted to sort of give back to the next generation of people coming through, and seeing them go on and do well will be a great. It'll be my legacy, and my family, of course.
of
Right?
course.
I want my three
Yeah.
children to go on and do well. That's my next project, or it's my ongoing project as
Ongoing.
well. They don't listen to their dad. It's a lot easier at work than it is at home
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Because you
But
don't have any,
I'll,
well, you have influence over them, but they just haven't learned to appreciate you yet, you know?
yeah. You got to make it all their idea. They
Yeah.
don't want to hear from dad.
Yeah.
So that's my next challenge, right? How do you help your own children who maybe love you, but they've got other things to do.
Yeah. They have other agendas going on,
That's right.
getting what they want.
That's right. You can just try and make them good people. I'd be happy if
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
case.
So do you have any tips or hints or ahas that you would like to share with people, and maybe tell us how they're going to buy the book from you or whatever?
Yeah, well, look, I want to make it very easy for them. So I'm actually going to make the book available for free online, the Legacy Leadership book, between the 13th to the 17th of April. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can get on there, I'll provide the link to you,
Yeah.
Mari-Lyn. And then
Okay.
if anybody would like to go on and download that book, it's in the Kindle. So it's the ebook.
Okay.
You'll be
In the book.
able to get it for free during that time. And if you like that and you enjoy it and get something out of it, that's fantastic. If you want to come back and read my new book, The Man Who Corrupted Heaven, you're welcome to do that as well. And
Mm-hmm.
um, and I'll put the links there. And if you want to follow me or my writing, you're welcome to come onto Andrew Hood Author on Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
join the party there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, just send me the links and I'll post
Yeah,
them on your page. And source, you'll be able to hear our interview together at podcast.heartatworkonline.org, and you'll have a page
right.
there, and that's where all the information will be. I think
Wonderful.
I might be able to twist his rubber arm to write a blog post for Heart at Work, and uh,
Sure.
and then we can promote that book so that get more people that want to level up and get the latest book for you.
Sure.
So I think that would be very interesting. So if there's no other things you'd like to share or whatever, I think we can conclude the conversation of the podcast. I have more
Great.
questions, but they're not really related to what you do because
I'll answer any question you have, Mari-Lyn.
yeah,
Uh, Look, and I appreciate your time,
yeah,
giving me some time on your podcast. It's been a blast. It's been good fun.
yeah. Well, thank you very much, Andrew, for coming on, because he's calling in from Sydney, Australia. I don't know what time it is there, but you know.
What time? It's midday. It's not too bad.
Midday? Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
not too bad. Well, here, I'm in a dark room anyway, but it's still kind of light out. But
Okay, good.
yeah, it's only 6:20 here.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, you get to your happy hour party with your staff, and we'll chat with you soon. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you for joining me. And remember, always be kind. Kindness is really, really powerful. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.
Thank you.